You think fire is just something humans learned to control, a flame in a fireplace, a campfire on a cold night, something so normal that we barely notice what it means. But imagine the world before humans controlled fire. There is no warm house, no streetlight, no flashlight, no stove. No glowing screen lighting up the darkness. When the sun disappeared, the world disappeared with it. And somewhere outside your little shelter, everything that could smell you could find you. So the real question is not how humans discovered fire. The real question is why, after discovering it, we became completely dependent on it. Because fire did something far more important than keeping us warm. It changed what a human being could actually be. Hundreds of thousands of years ago, the night belonged to everything else. Predators had better eyes, better hearing, better smell, better instincts. A human being had none of those advantages. We were not particularly fast. We were not particularly strong. Our teeth were embarrassing compared to almost every serious predator. And without technology, our bodies were almost hilariously poorly designed for surviving extreme environments. But then humans learned something. The darkness did not have to belong to the predators. We could bring the sun with us. One small flame changed the rules. Suddenly, the darkness around a camp was no longer completely dark. Animals that depended on darkness had to stay farther away. Humans could see each other. They could see their tools. They could see approaching danger. And most importantly, they could stay awake together. That sounds simple. It wasn't. Because fire did something to human behavior that no other technology had done before. It gave us a place to gather. Think about that. Before permanent cities, before villages, before roads, before writing, before governments. There was a circle, and inside that circle were humans sitting together while the rest of the world disappeared into darkness. Someone was cooking, someone was repairing a tool, someone was watching the edge of the firelight, someone was telling a story, and someone was listening. That may have been one of the most important moments in human history, because humans don't just survive by having strong bodies. We survive by transferring information. One person discovers where the animals are. Another remembers where water was found. Someone else knows which plants are safe. Another person knows how to make a better spear. Fire gave those people time to sit together and exchange all of that information. The campfire may have been one of humanity's first classrooms. But then something even stranger happened. Cooking changed us. Raw food takes enormous effort to chew and digest. Cooking breaks down food. It makes calories easier to access. It changes the structure of proteins and starches. It allows humans to get more usable energy from the same amount of food. And that matters because the human brain is expensive. Your brain uses an enormous amount of the body's energy, even when you are sitting completely still. Evolution had a problem. A bigger brain is useful, but a bigger brain also needs more fuel. Something had to pay the bill. Cooking may have helped solve it. Instead of spending enormous amounts of time chewing tough raw food and extracting limited energy from it, humans could process food outside the body first. Fire became an external digestive system. And once humans had more available energy, something unusual became possible. More brain, more learning, more planning. More communication, more complicated tools, more complicated social relationships. The fire was not just burning wood, it was helping power the animal that would eventually build cities. But there was another advantage people rarely think about. Fire allowed humans to live in places our bodies were never designed for. Cold environments, open landscapes, long winters, places where a tropical primate should have had no business surviving. A human body has limits. But technology does not have to share those limits. You cannot evolve a thicker coat overnight, but you can build a fire tonight. You cannot instantly change your metabolism, but you can cook food. You cannot give yourself night vision, but you can create light. That is the strange secret of our species. We did not survive because our bodies became perfect. We survived because we became extremely good at making our environment do the work for us. And fire was one of the first technologies that made that possible. But there is something even deeper here. Fire did not just change what humans ate, it changed how humans communicated. Imagine sitting around a fire 50,000 years ago. There is nothing else competing for your attention. No television, no notifications, no traffic, no advertisements. Just darkness outside and a small group of people inside the light. The people sitting around you are the entire world. And because everyone is looking at the same fire, everyone is close enough to hear everyone else. Stories become important, memory becomes important, language becomes important, and information can travel from one generation to the next without being written down. A grandfather can explain where the dangerous animals live. A mother can teach a child which plants to avoid. A hunter can describe the tracks he saw that morning. A person who has never visited a distant valley can still know what exists there because somebody told them. Knowledge stops dying with the person who discovered it. It becomes cultural memory. And that is one of the things that makes humans different. A wolf is born with instincts. A human is born helpless. But humans inherit something else, knowledge, not through DNA, through other humans. You are born knowing almost nothing about how to survive, and yet you can become capable of things no individual human could invent alone. Because every generation starts where the previous generation stopped. Fire helped create the place where that process could happen. And then came the most powerful part. Humans stopped treating fire as something they merely found. They started carrying it, protecting it, maintaining it, moving it, controlling it. A group that could preserve fire did not have to wait for lightning to create another one. That tiny difference was enormous. Imagine a group losing its fire during winter. It is not an inconvenience, it is a survival problem. You lose warmth, you lose cooked food, you lose light, you lose protection. The flame becomes something worth protecting with your life. And eventually humans learn to create fire themselves. That changed everything again, because now fire was no longer something nature occasionally gave us. It became something humans could produce on demand. That is a huge psychological shift. For the first time, humans were not simply adapting to the environment. We were beginning to reshape it. And that idea never stopped. Fire eventually became metalworking. Metalworking became tools. Tools became machines. Machines became factories. Factories became electricity. Electricity became computers. And computers became the world you are sitting in right now. All of that sounds impossibly far away from one person sitting beside a small fire. But history does not usually happen in giant jumps. It happens through tiny advantages that compound. A slightly better tool, a slightly better meal, a slightly safer night, a little more knowledge passed to the next generation, and then another generation builds on it, and another, until something that looked insignificant becomes the foundation of an entire civilization. That may be the real story of fire. It did not make humans stronger. It did not give us claws. It did not give us fur. It did not make us faster. It gave us something more powerful: control. For most of Earth's history, animals had to accept the conditions they were born into. If the environment became colder, they adapted or disappeared. If predators arrived, they ran. If darkness came, they hid. Humans started doing something different. We changed the conditions. Cold? Make fire. Dark? Make light. Raw food? Cook it. Danger? Build a shelter. Distance? Make a vehicle. Nature kept giving us problems, and humans kept inventing ways around them. That is why the campfire matters, because it was not just a flame. It was an early demonstration of the idea that would eventually define our entire species. The world does not have to remain the way we found it. And maybe that is why, thousands of years later, humans still gather around fire. We sit beside it, we stare into it, we tell stories beside it, we celebrate beside it. We remember people beside it. The technology became more complicated, the cities became enormous, the machines became almost impossible to understand. But something about that ancient circle never completely disappeared. Because before humans had civilization, before we had writing, before we had electricity, before we had almost anything, we had a little light in the darkness. And for the first time, the darkness was afraid of us too. If you enjoyed this video and learned something new, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. And I want to hear from you. What topic should we explore next? Drop your idea in the comments below. I'm always looking for fascinating stories about human behavior, psychology, history, and the hidden truths behind everyday life. So subscribe, leave a comment, and I'll see you in the next video with another story you probably never thought about.